Hey everyone, today we're talking about one of the most exciting battles in medieval history, the Battle of Grunwald. This is a story of power struggles, religious clashes, and big decisions that changed the fate of entire nations. It all started way back in 1230, when a group called the Teutonic Order moved into a region known as Helmno-land. These were no ordinary knights. They were a military order on a mission to spread Christianity, and they launched what's now known as the Prussian Crusade. Their goal was to convert the local Prussian tribes, who still followed their ancient pagan traditions. With strong support from the Pope and the Holy Roman Emperor, the Teutonic Knights gradually took control of the area. By the 1280s, they'd managed to conquer and convert the people of the region. But the Teutonic Order wasn't satisfied with just that. They set their sights on Lithuania, one of the last bastions of paganism in Europe. For nearly a century, the Knights waged a relentless campaign against Lithuania. They focused much of their efforts on a strategically important region called Samogitia. This area was like a bridge between the Teutonic lands in Prussia and their allies in Livonia. If they could control Samogitia, they'd connect their territories and gain a huge strategic advantage. But despite years of raids and battles, they couldn't make much progress. The border regions became desolate, with villages abandoned and lands left empty because of the constant fighting. During a civil war in Lithuania in the early 1380s, the Lithuanians briefly handed over Samogitia to the Knights in a deal called the Treaty of Debysa. It seemed like a win for the Teutonic Order, but it was far from the end of the story. In 1385, the game changed. Jogaila, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, made a bold move that would reshape the political landscape. He married Queen Jadwiga of Poland, creating a powerful alliance between Lithuania and Poland. As part of the deal, Jogaila converted to Christianity, became King of Poland, and took a new name, Władysław II Jagiello. This union of Krawa brought Lithuania into the Christian fold, which effectively removed the Teutonic Order's main justification for their military campaigns. But the Knights didn't back off. Their leader at the time, Konrad Zollner von Rothenstein, claimed that Jogaila's conversion wasn't genuine. He even tried to take the matter to a papal court to undermine the Polish-Lithuanian alliance. At the same time, disputes over Samogitia and other territories like Dobrzynland and Gdansk kept tensions high. On top of all that, control over trade routes added another layer of conflict, making this rivalry even more heated. Things came to a head in 1409, when the people of Samogitia, fed up with Teutonic rule, rose up in rebellion. Lithuania supported the uprising, and Poland backed Lithuania. This led the Teutonic Order to declare war on August 6, 1409. They launched an aggressive campaign, attacking Polish lands, burning castles, and capturing towns. Both sides fought fiercely, but it became clear neither was ready for a long, drawn-out war. By October, they agreed to a truce that would last until June 1410. This pause in fighting gave both sides time to prepare for what was coming next. During the truce, the Teutonic Order worked hard to secure support from powerful European leaders. They gave lavish gifts to King Sigismund of Hungary and Wenceslaus, King of the Romans, hoping to gain their backing. Sigismund even tried to drive a wedge between Poland and Lithuania by offering to crown Lithuania's leader, Vytautas, as king. But Vytautas stayed loyal to the alliance, knowing how important it was for both nations to stand united. Meanwhile, both sides spread propaganda, accusing each other of being enemies of Christianity. By the end of 1409, the Polish-Lithuanian alliance came up with a daring strategy. Instead of splitting their forces, they decided to combine their armies into one massive force and march straight toward the Teutonic capital of Marienburg. The Knights, expecting separate attacks from Poland and Lithuania, spread their troops out to defend multiple fronts. This miscalculation would prove costly. To keep their plans a secret, the Allied forces launched fake raids along the borders, confusing the Teutonic Order and forcing them to keep their troops scattered. As the armies prepared for the inevitable clash, The size and strength of each force became a topic of debate. Historians still argue about the exact numbers, but it's clear both sides brought massive armies to the battlefield. The Teutonic Order was famous for its disciplined troops, advanced weapons like bombards that could fire giant stones, and their fearsome heavy cavalry. These armored knights were a symbol of medieval military power. On the other hand, the Polish-Lithuanian alliance was incredibly diverse. Their forces included Polish knights, Lithuanian and Ruthenian soldiers, Bohemian and Moldavian mercenaries, and even Tatar and Armenian cavalry. Each group brought its own unique skills and fighting styles to the table. Vytautas, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, personally led the Lithuanian forces and played a key role in planning the overall strategy. Meanwhile, Władysław II Jagiello oversaw the entire Allied army, coordinating the efforts of this massive coalition. The stakes were incredibly high, and both sides knew that the outcome of this battle could change the balance of power in the region forever. The tension was at its peak. The Teutonic Knights were confident in their training and technology, while the Polish-Lithuanian alliance counted on their overwhelming numbers and clever strategies. And the Polish-Lithuanian army's campaign into Prussia was a massive and ambitious effort that highlighted their teamwork and determination. Their journey began at Cherwinsk, a carefully chosen meeting point where soldiers from various regions gathered. Troops from Greater Poland and Lesser Poland came together, alongside Lithuanian warriors from Vilnius and Ruthenian forces from Grodno. To cross the mighty Vistula River, they constructed a temporary pontoon bridge, an engineering marvel of the time. Over the span of a week, from June 24th to June 30th, they executed the crossing with precision, ensuring their movements remained secret and undetected by enemy scouts. When Ulrich von Jungingen, the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, learned of the crossing from Hungarian envoys, he realized the Polish-Lithuanian alliance was targeting Marienburg, the Teutonic stronghold. Acting swiftly, he left 3,000 men at Schwetz, under the command of Heinrich von Plauen, to guard the area and led the rest of his forces to establish a defensive line along the Drowens River. At Kornik, the Teutonic Order fortified their position with wooden stockades, creating a formidable barrier. However, King Władysław II Jagiello and his war council decided against a direct attack on this stronghold. Instead, they devised a strategic plan to bypass the river and march eastward towards Sodow, avoiding unnecessary losses. As the campaign advanced, the Teutonic forces shadowed the Polish-Lithuanian army, trying to anticipate their next move. The situation grew tenser as reports emerged of villages like Gilgenberg being destroyed, fueling a war of propaganda. The Teutonic Order accused their adversaries of atrocities, using these claims to rally their troops. Incensed by these events, von Jungingen vowed to confront and defeat the invaders, setting the stage for an epic clash. On the morning of July 15th, the two massive armies finally faced off near the villages of Grunwald, Tannenberg, and Ludwigsdorf. The battlefield spanned a wide area, with the Polish heavy cavalry positioned on the left flank, the Lithuanian light cavalry on the right, and a mix of mercenaries forming the center. The Teutonic Knights, renowned for their discipline and heavy armor, focused their strongest forces on the Lithuanian flank, hoping for a swift breakthrough. The Teutonic Knights stood in the scorching sun for hours, awaiting an attack. To provoke their opponents, von Jungingen sent messengers bearing two swords, as both a symbolic challenge and an insult. These swords, later known as the Grunwald swords, were meant to mock the alliance and taunt them into engaging in battle. However, Władysław II Jagiello, showing remarkable patience, did not take the bait and continued to wait for the ideal moment to strike. When the battle finally began, Vytautas led the Lithuanian cavalry in a bold charge against the Teutonic left flank. After more than an hour of fierce fighting, the Lithuanians began a strategic retreat, appearing to crumble under the pressure. The Teutonic Knights, convinced they had achieved a significant victory, abandoned their disciplined formations to pursue the retreating forces. This hasty decision left them vulnerable. while some chroniclers, such as Jan Długosz, described the retreat as a catastrophic defeat for the Lithuanians. Modern historians believe it was a calculated tactic, inspired by strategies used by the Golden Horde. The maneuver disrupted the Teutonic army's cohesion, buying time for the Lithuanians to regroup and later rejoin the fight. Meanwhile, the Polish forces engaged the Teutonic Knights in intense combat at the center and right flank of the battlefield. The fighting was brutal, with heavy losses on both sides. The Teutonic Knights targeted the royal banner of Krakow, a symbol of Polish pride and leadership. At one critical moment, the banner was captured, but Polish troops quickly reclaimed it, boosting their morale. Throughout the battle, King Władysław II, Jagiello, carefully monitored the situation, holding back his reserves until the most opportune moment. When von Jungingen led a desperate charge with 16 banners, nearly a third of his entire army, Jagiello countered by deploying his final reserves, tipping the scales in his favor. As the battle reached its peak, the Lithuanian forces returned to the battlefield, attacking the Teutonic army from behind. Surrounded and outnumbered, the Teutonic Knights began to falter. Grand Master von Jungingen himself fell during the chaos, reportedly struck down by a lance. With their leader gone, the Teutonic Order's remaining forces attempted to retreat to their camp. However, the camp was quickly overrun, and many knights were killed in the ensuing chaos. The battle, which raged on for nearly 10 hours, ended in a decisive victory for the Polish-Lithuanian alliance. The aftermath of the battle was devastating for the Teutonic Order. They attributed their defeat to internal betrayal, accusing Nicholas von Reynius, the commander of the Kulm banner, of lowering his flag as a signal for retreat. Whether true or not, this act led to von Reynius's execution without trial. And after the Battle of Grunwald, the devastation became clear. Reports from the time give varying accounts of the losses. A note from Hungarian envoys estimated 8,000 deaths, though it's unclear if this included both sides or just one. A papal document from 1412 mentioned 18,000 dead Christians. Polish sources, like letters from King Władysław II Jagiello, said their losses were small, with only 12 knights reported dead by historian Jan Długosz. A Teutonic official from Tapiow noted that only half the Lithuanians returned, though it's uncertain how many died in the battle versus later events like the siege of Marienburg. The Teutonic Order suffered massive losses. Records show only 1,427 men returned to Marienburg for their pay, and of 1,200 troops from Danzig, only 300 survived. Many leaders were killed, including Grand Master Ulrich von Jungingen and other top officials. Their bodies were taken to Marienburg Castle, while others were buried in mass graves at the battlefield. Werner von Tettinger, a senior commander, was one of the few high-ranking officials to escape. Polish and Lithuanian forces captured thousands of prisoners, including notable figures like Dukes Conrad VII of Owels and Casimir V of Pomerania. Many common soldiers were released if they agreed to report to Krakow by November 11, 1410. Those expected to pay ransoms were held, with some paying large sums, such as a mercenary who handed over 30 kilograms of silver. Despite their victory, the Allied forces delayed their attack on Marienburg, giving Heinrich von Plauen time to prepare the city's defenses. Moving slowly, they reached Marienburg on July 26, where they found the fortress ready. Meanwhile, other Teutonic fortresses, including major cities like Danzig, Thorn, and Elbing, surrendered easily. By this point, only 8 castles remained under Teutonic control. The siege of Marienburg dragged on due to a lack of supplies, morale, and a dysentery outbreak. The Teutonic Order gained help from allies like Hungary and the Livonian Order. By September 19, the siege was abandoned. Although the Allies left garrisons in captured forts, the Order quickly reclaimed most of them. By October, only a few castles near the Polish border remained in Allied hands. King Władysław II, Jagiello raised a new army and defeated the Teutonic forces again at the Battle of Koronowo on October 10, 1410. This led to negotiations and the signing of the Peace of Thorn in February 1411. The treaty gave Poland Dobrzyn land and temporarily ended the Teutonic claim to Samogitia. However, the victory didn't bring lasting territorial gains. The Teutonic Order had to pay heavy reparations in silver, which strained their finances. To cover costs, they borrowed money, seized church valuables, and raised taxes. These actions led to revolts in cities like Danzig and Thorn, weakening the order further. The loss at Grunwald marked the beginning of the order's decline. With fewer recruits and growing dependence on expensive mercenaries, they faced mounting challenges. Over time, internal struggles and economic issues led to the formation of the Prussian Confederation in 1441, and later conflicts like the 13 Years' War. Commemorating the battle began soon after it ended. King Władysław II, Jagiello planned a monastery dedicated to Saint Bridget of Sweden near the battlefield, but it was never built. Instead, the Teutonic Order constructed a chapel, which was destroyed and rebuilt several times. By the 20th century, the site became a national symbol. In 1960, for the 550th anniversary, a museum and monuments were built, featuring a sculptural map, flagpoles, and an obelisk. The site remains a National Historical Monument and continues to attract visitors. In 2020, a monument with an engraved Vitus symbol was unveiled to mark the 610th anniversary, with both Polish and Lithuanian presidents attending. The site remains a National Historical Monument and continues to attract visitors.